Straight all day.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get to use those of personal initiative. What is that, Dre? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is who I want in my audience. Yes, I'm going to lay it out here today. Who exactly I want listening to this show. Who am I targeting? Who am I thinking about when I turn the mic on and I start speaking into this recording device? I'm going to lay that out here today so you will be able to check yourself and make sure you're the person that I'm talking to when I record these episodes. But before we get into any of that, let me remind you all, I send out a daily motivation text message. Yes, a daily motivation text message. Yes, daily. Yes, motivation. Every single day for free to everyone who's in my text community. Let me tell you what this message is going to do. It is going to have you starting your day in a mode of being focused, sharp, and on point. If that sounds like something that you want, if that sounds like I'm describing the type of person that you are, here's what you do. Text me right now at this number, 305-384-6894. And every morning when I send out the daily motivation, because you are a member of my texting community, you shall receive that message. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That is the place where you go when you are ready to work with me directly. That is my coaching program. There is one program. There's one way to work with me directly. That is in Work on Your Game University. When it comes to building up your business, you want to make more money in your business, you need a game plan for what you're doing in business. You want to make sure there is a strategy and a system for you doing things the same way every time, and you want to be held accountable for your execution and have the bulletproof mindset to deal with the inevitable challenges that are coming, even if you don't see them yet. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, and the steps are laid out in very, very plain English what to do next to work with me directly. Now, all that said, let's get into today's topic, who I want in my audience. See, the people I want in my audience are the people who could potentially be the same people who I want going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. See, most of you those of you who are listening to this show, you are the same people who I want in my program. Those of you who are in my program, you're the same people who are already, before you got into the program, you were probably listening to this show. Very few people join my program if they haven't heard of this show. Most of the time somebody gets into this program, they heard of this show at some point along the way. Now, I may not work with everybody at the same time who is in my audience, and some of you may be years away from working with me. Maybe you'll listen to me there are people who have joined my program, they were listening to me for 6 months, a year, consuming my material before I even knew that they existed because they had never made themselves known. That happens sometimes. Some people need to be warmed up. Some people need to be groomed. Some people need to grow into a position where they feel like they are ready to work with me. But today, either way, I will describe what those people are like, i.e., I'm going to describe you. So see if you fit the description. Now, as a note, I will be adding to this list, and I'll be doing separate episodes on this subject in the future. This is just a starter kit. These are just the first few things that I thought about when I was thinking about this. Who are the type of people that I want in my audience? I think I should have this articulated and laid out so anyone can go reference this anytime that is necessary. So that's why we're addressing this here today. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is who I want in my audience. Number one, I want coachable individuals. Coachable. This is the most important trait you must have if you want to be helped by anyone in any capacity. If you're going to work with me, you have to be coachable. You're going to come into my world, you must be coachable. Even if you're going to listen to this show consistently. Even if that's all you do is just listen to this show, and I never even find out that you exist, you need to be coachable to listen to this, because this show is not entertainment. All right? This is not fun and games. This is not sports and leisure. This show is about holding a mirror up to you. At least some of the episodes will. For each of you, it can be different depending on where you are in life and what you're dealing with. But it's about holding up a mirror to you and showing you, hey, these are the things that need to change. These are the things that need to be worked on. These are the things that you need to consider if you're not already considering them. That's what this show is about. You have to be coachable and understand who you're listening to. All right, I'm a former professional athlete. In the sports world, we have coaches. There's no sport that the best players don't have coaches. Every good player in any sport has coaches. And you know what coaches do? Coaches point out your mistakes. They note your flaws. They have you work on things that are uncomfortable for you to work on because you're not good at them. They don't have you just doing the stuff you're comfortable with. They have you doing the stuff that you're uncomfortable with because you're uncomfortable with it because you're not good at it, and they help you mask those weaknesses or turn those weaknesses into strengths, or at least turn a weakness into a mediocrity at worst, so that it doesn't become something that is holding you back, doesn't become your Achilles heel. That's what coaching is. So a coachable individual is a type of individual who is interested to hear, where am I deficient? Where do I need to get better? Where do I need to adjust? Where do I need to upgrade? Where do I need to step my game up? Where do I need to make change? Where do I need to work on my game so I can become better at what I'm doing? If you are not that type of person, well, you probably wouldn't be listening to the show if you weren't that type of individual. This is the most important thing you must have if you want to work with me. Being coachable means you are open to changing your approach if necessary. It means you are willing to listen to what is being told to you. It means you accept that your current operating procedures may not be the most efficient way for you to achieve your goals. Because if it was the most efficient way, well, would you need to listen to a show called Work on Your Game for? I mean, you're already doing everything perfectly. You don't need me. Usually, when someone goes looking for help from another individual, we just talked about this yesterday, how to ask for help. Whether that help be from a trainer, a coach, a book, a course, or anything else, when any of you go looking for help from another person, and tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, you usually have already accepted that everything that you're doing, something is not perfect, and something needs to change in some way, shape, or form. Can we agree that that's true? Anytime you go to another person looking for any form of help, again, coaching, training, you're going to read a book, you're going to sign up for a course, you're going to go to an event, you're going because you know there is some form of deficiency in something that you're doing, and you are open to doing it differently, pending what you get told or instructed to do or what you hear wherever you go. All right, that's the reason why we do these things, because we're looking for ways to step things up. We're looking for ways to be better. We're looking for ways to improve. And the type of people who are listening to a show called Work on Your Game, the type of people who are members of my program and Work on Your Game University, the type of people who I want to work with, the type of people who I'm looking to attract when I record episodes of this show, are the type of people who understand that continuous, never-ending improvement is a principle of their life. It's not a one-time thing. It's not when you get excited about it. This is just a normal way of being, that you are always upgrading yourself. You're always looking for ways to get better. Depending on who your coach is, and depending on the challenge that you are looking to solve, you may be tasked with changing a lot of things in a lot of ways when you go and get coached, when you're being helped, when you're being trained. Now, here's the question. How open are you to that concept? Not the question of whether or not there's something you could change. Every human being on this planet has something they could change and get better at. So that's not the question. The question is, how open are you to how much change? What's your capacity for change? That's a good question. What is your capacity for change? How much would you change if somebody told you you needed to make changes? See, there are some of you listening to this now, you're okay with changing about 10% of what you're doing, but no more than that. Others of you, some of you are okay with changing about 30% of what you're doing, but past 30% is a bridge too far. Some of you are willing to change about half of what you're doing, about 50% of what you're doing right now, but you wouldn't do more than that. Some of you are willing to change everything that you're doing right now. You're willing to throw all of it away of your current self and replace the whole thing with a whole new set, if and when it was necessary. And here, let me help you out with this one. The people who work best with me are those who are most open to changing the most things. Doesn't mean we're going to change everything, but the people who I work with best are those who are the most open to changing the most stuff. That means your capacity for change is 100%. And again, it doesn't mean I'm going to have you change every single thing about your life. If you got long hair, I'm not going to make you cut it. You got short hair, I'm not going to tell you to grow it. I probably not. It's usually not the type of challenges that people come to me with. But I want to work with people who have the capacity to change anything if they believe that I know what I'm talking about and helping you get to where you want to go. All right, those are people that I'm looking for. So you should ask yourself this question: how open you are to change? What's your change capacity from 0 to 100? For me, in any area in which I'm not getting the outcome that I want, I'm looking forward to changing as many things as possible. If I hear from someone who I believe knows the path better than I do. Let me say that sentence again. Anything where I'm not getting the outcome I want, I am open to changing as much as possible, i.e. my capacity is 100% for change. If I get that feedback from someone who I believe knows the path better than I do. So in other words, if I join somebody's program or I'm in somebody's cohort mastermind taking their course, I have already decided this person knows more than I do in that area. So anything that they tell me, I'm willing to go do it. I'm willing to apply it. I'm willing to throw away what I'm doing and do what they're doing, or what they suggest doing. Why? Because I have already inherently decided that they know more than me. That's why I signed up for whatever they have going on. And if I didn't think they knew enough, I wouldn't sign up. Or if I wasn't interested, I wouldn't sign up. So again, how open are you to change? Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is who I want in my audience. I want people who are resourceful. What does that mean? Being resourceful means you know that there is something that needs to happen. Even though you may not have the simplest path to making it happen, you will exhaust all possibilities for making it happen. Let me say it again. You know there's something that needs to happen. And even if you don't have the easiest path to doing it, you will exhaust all options for doing it anyway. That connects to the personal initiative point that I make in the opening of the show every single day. Being resourceful means you look for alternative routes to outcomes, even when and if the simple route to the outcome is unavailable to you. So for example, if you wanted to go buy something, but you don't have the money, that's usually the biggest objection or obstacle or reason or excuse, whatever words you want to give, that people have for not doing what they need to do, especially when we're talking in the professional / entrepreneurial world, is I don't have the money. I would do all those things, but I just don't have the money. Being resourceful means recognizing and accepting the fact that you don't have the money. However, not accepting the fact that you can't do the thing just because you don't have money, even though the only way to do the thing, as far as you know at this moment, is to have money. You say to yourself, okay, well, if I can't do it with money, how could I do it? And then you go to work on that answer. See, resourceful people ask that question. Non-resourceful people don't even think of the question that I just said. You don't even consider that question. And I'm going to tell you, those of you in that group, all right, that might be a little bit of a clue as to why you are where you are right now in your career, in your life, your business. The fact that you never even consider, okay, I don't have the money to do this, even though it costs money. If I had to do it anyway, how would I do it? How could I go about this? What's another way I can make it work? Remember something, folks. Every human on this planet needs something that is not money-based. Now, it does not mean they will accept something that's not money-based if they're selling something that costs money. However, if you can get creative in your thinking, you can pretty much get anything, even if you don't have the main thing that's being asked for. Everybody follow what I'm saying here? That's what being resourceful means. It means you look for alternative routes to outcomes, even when the simple route to that outcome is unavailable to you. And you do not quit on the outcome simply because the simple route is unavailable. A simple example, again, I just gave you one, I'll give you another one, that involves money, because money is the one thing that we all understand is the universal, in the business world, money is the universal excuse. Now in science, I remember my science teachers in school would always say water is the universal solvent. That's what they call it, the universal solvent. Money is the universal excuse. In the financial, business, entrepreneurial world, money is the universal excuse. It's the normal reason that everyone uses when they are not doing something that they said that they want to do. I just don't have the money. That's why I'm not doing it. If there is an outcome that you wish to achieve, ladies and gentlemen, or a change you wish to make, but that outcome or change requires a certain amount of money that you do not currently have, the resourceful person says, I don't have the money, which is true, but I'm going to go look for ways to make it happen anyway. That's what the resourceful person does. Let me take a sip of water because I want that statement to sink in. And I've had enough conversations with enough people to know that if more people had that frame of mind, a lot more people would get a lot more done in their lives. Let me say the statement again, just in case you need to hear it twice. The resourceful person says, this is in business. They say, I do not have the money to do this, which is probably 100% true. Most of the time somebody tells me that they can't do something, they can't join my program, they can't do XYZ because they don't have the money. Usually I believe them. I believe you. You don't have the money. I don't think you're lying to me. You don't have the money. But here's the part that doesn't happen. And this is what should happen. So any of you who's ever used the I don't have the money reason / excuse, or if you are right now, you have a situation going on in your life that you are not resolving because you don't have the money, here's what I want you to add to that statement. I don't have the money. Instead of a period, put a comma, but I'm going to look for ways to make this happen anyway. And remember, personal initiative, making things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. So this is not, I'm like, do nothing today and quote unquote think about it. You already thought about it. You're thinking about it right now. So you don't need more time to think about it. What you need is to get creative, get resourceful, and figure out, how can I make this work? And if you're saying that you don't have the money to do something, that means you're probably dealing with another human being, right? There's another human on the other end of this situation, conversation, whatever it is, at least one other person. Go to that person and ask them, hey, how can we make this work? I don't have the money, but I want to do this. How can we make this work? What's the way we can work this out? What's the way we can kind of move forward even though I don't have all the money right now? What can we do? Usually, if you're the person buying, because you're the one who doesn't have the money, so that means you're usually making a purchase, you're talking to someone who's a salesperson, a good salesperson will find a way to help you make it work if you want to make it work. A good salesperson always will find a way to make it work if they have a prospect who is willing to make it work. Or even if the prospect does not have the money, whatever the money may be, even if they don't have the money right then, they'll find a way to make it happen. So again, I'm going to look for ways to make this happen. And that means, like, we're going to look for ways to make it happen right now, not 3 weeks from now, right now. I have episodes on this show where I've talked about this, many. The non-resourceful person says, and I shouldn't even have to say this because many of you do this already. Non-resourceful person says, well, I don't have the money, so I guess I can't do anything. So I'll wait another year, I'll wait another 6 months, and hope that maybe a year or 6 months from now I have the money to do something, and then maybe I'll do something. Well, listen, I've been in this game long enough, everybody, that the people who say that usually end up doing nothing. It's a sad but true reality. The people who say, I don't have the money, and I'm just using money as an example here because it's one that everybody can relate to, and I'm talking to professionals here, business people. I don't have the money, so I'm not going to do anything, and maybe a year from now or 6 months from now I'll be in a better position where I can do something. Well, if that was the case, then you would already be in that better position right now, kind of, wouldn't you? Because you had already been doing something different. Or what's going to change about your situation? What's going to change about your situation? Unless you have some imminent thing that is about to change about your situation, why are you believing that something's going to change? What, just because? Why is it going to change? Just because time went by? I don't think so. I mean, how many times have you heard me just in the last 4 weeks of this show say people do not change because of the law of inertia? We do the same stuff over and over again. Only thing that happens is we get older and uglier. That's it. Things don't just change just because. Things don't change just because time went by. That is not a reason to bet on change, that time's going to go by, so something's going to change. That's a very, very poor formula for success and achievement. Any of you is using it, stop using it. And usually what happens, again, people end up doing nothing. Even after the time period which they say they would take and hope that things were different, nothing changes. The reason why is not because you don't want to be a successful individual. You want to be successful. I believe you. It's not because you don't want to be successful in your life. It happens because hope is not a strategy, ladies and gentlemen. Hoping that things are different is not a strategy. And this is what I talked about a few days ago when I talked about the real job of a salesperson, is to get people to do things that they know they want to do, but they do not have the initiative or the momentum. They don't have the inertia working in their favor to actually do it. It's our job as salespeople to move you to do something that you are trying to tell yourself not to do, even though you need to do it. That's our job as salespeople, is to help you get over your own shit, to do what you need to do to get over your own shit. Again, this is why sales is the highest paid profession in the world, because that's a very difficult task. What I just laid out, that's hard to do. But if you get good at it, you can write your own check in life. And the first person you need to sell is the person in the mirror. Being resourceful is a mentality that leads to a strategy, because being resourceful people look for different ways to achieve outcomes when the main way is not available. Here's the most important resource available to all of us. That's your mentality and self-determinism. How determined are you to make things happen as opposed to waiting for things to happen? Now, you hear me say that every day when I open the show. I'm looking for people who are to go make things happen people. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is who I want in my audience. Number 3, I'm looking for the self-determined individual. I've discussed this in episode number 1259, self-determinism. It is a decision that one makes that you will be a successful individual, or that you will do anything, regardless of the circumstances put forth in front of you, in order to be successful. That's self-determinism. You have determined what your outcomes will be in life, and then you go about living life to make sure that you make yourself right. That's what self-determinism means. I have determined I'm going to be successful at this thing, even though I'm failing at it right now. Because I've determined I'm going to be successful, I see no other outcome besides me being successful. So therefore, all your actions are based on what you see, because that's a being, that's a state of being. So when you hear me talk about be, do, have, or I just gave you an example of it. Self-determinism is the starting point of the be, do, have philosophy. It's the starting point of the being is determining this is happening. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I was on the phone with American Express, the credit card financial company. I made a payment on an account for American Express, and they have all kinds of what do they call them, like security measures on their accounts. That if you make a certain payment by a certain amount based on your account and based on your history and all this stuff, they will flag it and they'll put a hold on that. Because usually you make a payment, like if I go on Amex right now, make a $1 payment on a credit card of mine, the available balance immediately becomes $1 more. They basically honor the fact that that $1 is going to go through from my bank account to their accounts. But if you make a certain amount, again, depends on how much credit you have, your history and all this stuff, they will flag the account based on the size of the payment. So they have flagged my account. So I made a payment, in other words, my available balance did not change. And I'm like, why did this balance not change? So I had to call Amex and say, hey, the balance didn't change. And they say, well, this is what we had to do, sir. Your account got flagged. And it's a normal thing. I've had this happen 5, 6, 7 times. So then they say, we got to get on the phone with your bank, make sure that your bank can confirm that you actually have the funds in your account to cover the payment that you just made. As soon as we verify that, we will release the hold and we will manually update your account so that the available balance is showing and you can go use your card as desired. So I'm on the phone with American Express yesterday. This is at the end of the business day. And the bank that I was using, and this is a bank that as of today, this happened yesterday, by the way. As of today, I'm moving my funds out of that bank into a different bank because I don't like their customer service, and their systems are very what's the word? They don't have good systems in place. In other words, every time we call, I get different answers from different people, which means their systems are trash because the customer service agent should have the same process every time. Amex has the same process. They don't. This bank. But I'm getting off of that bank and moving my money to another bank. I already started that process today. But anyway, we're calling this bank. And the phone is ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And this guy gets on the phone. I remember his name. His name was Caesar. Caesar gets on the phone. Amex tells them, hey, I'm calling from American Express on a recorded line. We need to do this to verify that Mr. Baldwin's account can cover this amount. Caesar says, I'm not allowed to do that. And I'm like, Caesar, what the hell are you talking about? I've called here like 8 times and done this, and I've never had an agent say they can't do it because clearly Caesar was not properly trained and didn't know his job. He says, let me put you on hold. He puts me on hold. He puts us on hold. He goes and talks to somebody. He keeps us on hold for 5 minutes, comes back to the phone and says again that he can't do it. And I'm like, all right, I tell the Amex person, this is on a 3-way phone call. I say to Amex, hang up on this idiot and call back and we'll get a different customer service agent on the line. Because usually that's what happens. And by the way, that's a tip for any of you. Anytime you call customer service for a company and the person's giving you a hard time on something that you know they can do or should be able to do, just hang up on them, call back, you'll get a different agent, and that agent will usually help you out. All right, so usually you don't have to do it more than twice. So I had him hang up on Caesar, this dummy from the bank. We call back. Guess who answers the phone? The same guy. Caesar answers the phone. I'm like, hang up on this dude. They hang up. We call back. Caesar answers the phone again. So clearly this company didn't have a lot of customer service agents on the job at this particular point of the day. So the Amex guy, and we're now at the end of the day. Now I need to use my card because I need to make a transaction. This is like a time sensitive thing that I need to take care of. I need to take care of it today. And it's at the close of business. And Amex guy is like, well, sir, we called like 4 or 5 times. And then a couple times we called and nobody answered. And they sent us to a voicemail, which I didn't know banks even had voicemail. But anyway, Amex guy is saying, well, sir, we've called 5 times and we haven't been able to get anyone on the phone who can help us. So maybe you'll just have to wait until the payment clears your account. And I said, oh, no, we're not waiting until the payment clears my account. I said, y'all got to call again. And he said, well, sir, we just called. We keep getting the same guy who won't help us, or we're getting voicemail. So I don't know what you want me to do. I said, I'm telling you what I want you to do. I want you to call again because we're going to keep calling until we get this cleared with somebody who can clear the payment because I need my account updated because I need to use this card and I need to use it right now. I'm not getting off the phone until you do it. And he pauses for a little bit and he really has no other choice. And he says, hold on, sir, let me see if I can get approval to manually just update your account. And he puts me on hold for 2 minutes. He comes back, he says, sir, well, I was able to get approval. I'll just manually update your account. And he did update my account right there on the spot, and I was able to use my card and I was able to complete my transaction. I'm telling you all of that story, not to impress you, but to impress upon you. Self-determinism is when you've decided that something's going to happen and you are not accepting of any other outcome. I want people in my audience who think like that. I want people in my audience who, if you were on the phone with Amex and your bank wasn't answering the phone and you were getting some idiot on the phone who clearly didn't know their job, and Amex is trying to tell you, well, it's not working, so you're just going to have to wait a day or two in order to use your card because the payment doesn't clear, you say to them the same thing I said to them. I said, I'm a customer of yours. I spend a lot of money with you all. I do a lot of transactions through your systems. You're not telling me that I'm going to wait a day to use this card. We're going to get this cleared up right now. Do what you got to do, but I ain't getting off this phone until I can use my card. That's self-determinism. I want people in my world who think like that. And if you were in a similar situation, that's what you would do for your own credit card situation or whatever the situation happens to be. Regardless of the circumstance put in front of you, you are determined to make things happen the way you want them to happen. Self-determinism is a decision that you make that you are going to get what you want. Because self-determined people, and why do I want these people in my audience? Because self-determined people have already decided what their outcome is going to be. See, people who I want to work with are people who have already decided that they're going to be successful. And they come to me because I'm going to help guide you towards success. It's not like you're like, all right, I'm a failure and I'm going to go get with Dre because Dre's going to turn me from a failure to a success. No, I'm looking for people who already decided they're going to succeed. They're looking for someone to help them get there faster and more efficiently. That's what I'm looking for. I'm that type of person. See, if I join somebody's program or I'm in your mastermind or your group or your course or whatever, I'm the perfect person. I'm the perfect client that you want in your world. Why? Because I've already decided that I'm going to be successful. So it's guaranteed as soon as I buy into your program that you just sold yourself a success story. You made money, and I guarantee you I'm going to be a success story of your program. Why? Because I've already determined I'm going to be successful. All right. Your program is not going to make me a success. This is going to help me do more of what I already decided that I'm going to do anyway. Those are people that I want. Not the people who need to be pulled out of the dirt and made into a success. And it's not saying that I can't help those people, but I'm looking for the self-determined individual. So the question is, are you that? Self-determined people have already decided that they will be successful. And what they are doing is practicing. There's a book called The Slight Edge. If you have not heard of this book, go buy it and read it. The Slight Edge is about knowing that you're already doing successful things to help yourself become successful, and you keep doing them because you understand that that edge is what separates you from everybody else who might be on a similar wave, but you want to make sure you stay ahead of them, so you practice the slight edge. So in the coaching and consulting space, for example, of which I'm a member, coaching consulting space, you got there's a bell curve. Those of you who know what a bell curve is, Google it. About 5% of the population are people who practice the slight edge. Those are the people who are already more successful than most of their peers, yet they still hire coaches and join programs and sign up for courses and pay money to go to events. Why? They're already ahead of everybody already. Why do they do it? They do it because they're practicing the slight edge. All right, that's a better way of explaining what the slight edge means. You're already ahead of everybody, but you keep doing more than everyone else is doing anyway, so you get even more ahead of the ahead that you already are. This is like the best player on the sports team working harder than all the other players on the team. You're already better than everybody, but you're still the hardest worker. That's the slight edge. Everybody get that? About 5% of people practice the slight edge. Then you got about 15 to 20% of the population. We'll say about 20%. And I talked about this in I think it was a 5-15-80 rule that I talked about in an episode of this show. Let me tell you what episode that was. That was episode number. Let's see if I can find it. That was episode number 2442, the 5-15-80 rule. Then you got I would say about 80% of the population. We'll just go off these numbers that I have in this episode, 2442, are type people who would never, ever, ever buy a ticket to a conference. They would never sign up for a course, and not any type of personal or professional development course. They wouldn't take any course outside of school requirements. They would never buy a book for their own reading, for them to read outside of school. They haven't picked up a book since they left school. They would damn sure never hire a coach. They would not join a mastermind, especially when they got to pay money for it. They would never do any of these things. That's about 80% of the population. And then the other 15 are the people who they'll sometimes do it, sometimes they won't. It depends. How comfortable is it? How uncomfortable are they going to be? How much they got to invest? Do I really want to do it? Am I really going to follow through? That's about 15%. Now, if you're in the coaching and consulting space, you got to get some of those 15%ers to take action. Otherwise, your whole business can't run on just the 5%ers. Most of the time. Now, there are some exceptions to that, but most of the time, you can't run your whole business just on the 5%. There's not enough of them. You got to get some of those 15%ers. The 80%ers, that ain't happening. Don't waste your time. If you're in 80% you ain't listening to this episode, by the way. So if you're listening to this, you're either in the 5 or the 15. If you're in the 5, you know you're in the 5. If you're not sure you're in the 5, you're in the 15. If you're in the 80, you damn sure are not listening to this episode 29 minutes in. I lost you in the first 3 minutes. All right, everybody got it? All right, that's the slight edge. Doing extra things to get an extra edge on the competition, even though you already have an extra edge on the competition. You're getting the extra to the extra. That's the slight edge. That's the 5%ers. These are the rich people who keep doing things to stay rich. They get more rich even though they're already more rich than everybody else. See, when I go hire a personal trainer, or I hire a coach, or I join somebody's program, or I sign up for a course, or I buy a book and read it, it's not because any of those things are going to make me into a successful individual. I'm already a successful individual. Not because of what I materially have or have accomplished, because I've already decided in my mind. That's done. That part is already taken care of. I would be a successful person even if I never came across that material, or never read that book, signed up for that program, went to that conference. That is not what makes me successful. The material is going to get me there much faster and give me that 1% edge over everybody else. That's why I do it. I don't hire a trainer because I need somebody to help me get in shape. I'm already in shape. I'm already a professional when it comes to sports, fitness. I don't work with a trainer because I need to get in shape. Work with a trainer because I want to be in even better shape. I'm practicing a slight edge when it comes to my fitness. You understand what I'm saying here? See, I'm the type of person who will make a trainer or a coach look good because I'm going to be successful. So when you sell me into your program, you just sold yourself another success story. So you got a win-win situation. All you're going to do is guide me along the way. And I'm looking for people who are of the same mentality. So let me recap today's class, which is who I want in my audience. People I want in my audience are people who will potentially work with me. You're the people who will be members of my university. You're the people who will be coached by me. You're the people I want in my events. You're the people I want in my masterminds. Point number 1, coachable individuals. This is the most important trait you have to have if you want to be helped by anybody in any capacity. It means you are open to change. You are willing to listen. You accept your current procedures are maybe not the best procedure, and you are willing to change as much of them as possible. What is your capacity for change? How much of your current operating system are you willing to change?